Hey, good evening to our viewers. Welcome to In Spite of It All with Maxine. I know we've all had our In Spite of It All moments, but in spite of all those In Spite of It All moments, we're here, you are there, we're communicating, we're looking at each other, talking, relating, we're living, breathing, we're hoping. Very important, hope. And our dreams. Never stop dreaming. The moment you stop dreaming is the day you die. So in spite of all your in spite of it all moments, let's live. This evening we have with us in studio a wonderful survivor, a wonderful young woman, a woman brave. Wait until she tell you just how brave she is. Mrs. Novia Bent, and she's here to talk to us, share with us, to tell us of her in spite of it all moments, or at least some of them. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Novia Bent.
Hi Maxine, how are you?
It's good to have you here.
Thank you, same here.
So, how are you?
I am blessed and highly favored.
Blessed and highly favored. Good. Hear that? All right, so tell us a little bit about Novia.
Well, I was born in Manchester, Jamaica, and I lived in St. Elizabeth with my family for most of my life before coming here to the States to live. Went first to, well, in Jamaica I went to Hampton. Went through first form through sixth form there, and then migrated to New York, where I went to college there, to Baruch College.
What did you study?
Did actuarial science. I actually did a double major, actuarial science, which is a math-based major, and a second major in computer graphics, kind of using both sides of my brain.
But for those of us who don't know, math-based,
it's in the simplest terms.
Right.
It is taking, all the statistics that we have on you, your age, your height, things like that, and basically calculating your length of life, how long you'll live, and as such, the rate you'll pay on insurance, that kind of a thing. So it's used by all insurance companies.
Oh, okay.
Things like that.
Okay. I was just going to say, for what? But you explained. It's okay. But now you are in another field.
Yes. I had a midlife crisis at 27 and kind of segued from the financial field and went into construction.
Construction.
Yes.
A woman in construction in today's world. More power.
It's a beautiful thing. It's one of the underestimated sectors in the construction industry. A lot of women that they expect to see in the construction industry, they expect to be, big and hard, and
right.
It's
or
nice.
At the desk, or
exactly.
behind the desk,
or behind the desk.
Right.
So it's nice being out there in the field with the guys that are out there working, and being able
in your
to
hard hat and your boots.
Exactly. And be able to go, not just pointing the finger, but actually holding a drill and able to go, plank for plank with them.
Okay.
So that's an awesome thing.
Right. And how does it feel to complete a project, to start it from its planning stages right up to watching it grow like a child?
It is one of the most fulfilling feelings that I have, because it's you can liken it to ironing a shirt, seeing something coming from a crushed state, and then when you're finished, just to see this smooth, perfectly this perfect item. So the same thing with regards to either building a house or doing a renovation. You're seeing something come from a state of just total chaos or nothingness to just this awesome end project, and being able to revel in the fact that you had a part in its point.
And passing inspection, right?
Of course, of course.
That's the hardest exam right there, right?
Within the field, it's not just the work that you do, but it's also, your personality, because you're having to deal with not only the project owners, but the inspectors, and having to kind of walk a tightrope with them.
Okay. And you have a lot invested in this because you are a part
Yes.
of the company.
Yes. The company is owned by my husband and myself. We're general contractors, roofing contractors, plumbing, electrical contractors, and we're in the process of getting our underground utility license.
That's a big one there.
Yes. So, we're doing all of that. In addition to that, we've gotten our Green Associates certification. So we're going towards our lead, because
everybody's building.
Going green now.
Right. To be LEED certified these days, that's a thing,
that's
right?
That's a big thing, definitely.
Now, you're balancing being a woman in construction, management at that, with being a mother, a wife.
Yes.
How do you find the balance?
Well, the good thing is that I have a great partner. So he helps me with, all sectors of it. We have two beautiful kids. My son is 6 and my daughter is 8. So, having Brian kind of work with me, we're able to get the business running and have all facets of the business taken care of, and also have the kids taken care of, with homework, with their social activities, with just being kids, being able to have fun with them and enjoy life with them.
Do they have any leanings towards construction?
Some. My son, every now and again will say yes, he's going to take over B&B construction. My daughter just wants to spend whatever money B&B construction makes, and have B&B construction make her a mansion. But other than that, right now they're just loving every aspect of life.
Well, I guess that's how it is sometimes. Now, I'd like for you to share with us a moment in your life that was life-changing for you. Perhaps for you, for your family, for your friends.
Well, one of the life-changing moments for me was really when I had my daughter, when I had my children. Because after the accident, which I know we'll talk about later on, but after the accident, I was told that I wouldn't be able to have kids. So, I didn't find out that, I was pregnant until I was 3 months along. Because it was something that we never thought would happen. So we were content in being our own kids, Okay. And when I found out I was pregnant and had her, it was one of those moments that you realize that the truth can change the facts.
Truth can change the facts.
Yes.
Are we hearing this? Think about it. The truth can change the fact. Wow.
Yeah, so I think that was the biggest life-changing and life-altering moment for not only me, but, my family.
My goodness. But when you were told, let's talk about the accident.
Okay.
What happened?
In 98, Memorial Day 98, I actually came to Florida to look for my mom. And I driven down with, my stepsisters, and we were driving back to New York, because at the time I lived and went to college in New York. And on our drive back, the Jeep that I was driving flipped over. It rolled between 6 and 10 times. There was a gentleman driving behind us, and he counted 6 times when he came up, and it was already rolling by the time he came up. I was pulled out of my seatbelt, thrown out the window, outside, and then the vehicle came to land on top of me. So by the time he called, the 911 and the EMS services, police, all the the first responders came. They knew the driver. There had to be a driver. They knew the driver was ejected, but they figured the driver was dead. So they, went to taking care of everyone else that was still inside the car.
How many people?
It was 4 of us in all. My stepsisters, cousin and myself. And so they, went to get everybody inside of the car taken care of. And then they heard me moaning. Because at this time I was under the car. We had been driving for about 7.5 hours at this time. So the undercarriage of the car was hot and it was burning through my skin.
And you felt it?
I felt it because I was moaning, but I don't remember that part. They say the Lord gives you as much as, He doesn't give you more than you can handle. So it's not something, I don't remember that moment. But yeah, they heard me moaning and realized that I was alive. So after they got everybody out of the car, they kind of took the car up off of me and, went to trying to stabilize me at that point. So, it was finding out that, okay, I'm still alive, cutting off the burnt clothes, because at this time the clothes was burnt into my skin. So it's cutting off the burnt clothes. I got a naked helicopter ride back to the hospital, which I don't remember, and going there. And when I got there, one of my stepsisters who was conscious gave them a number in New York. They called New York, who then called Florida. And my mom kind of knew where we were because I had spoken to her maybe 15 minutes or so before the accident happened. And she just started driving up, until she found out exactly what hospital we were at. And, she just started driving up because she knew, okay, some of us were okay, so she just wanted to be there. And when she finally got to the hospital, they told her I might not make it. They said if I lived through the first 3 days, I would probably live. But they were unsure. They tried to do as much as they could. When I first got into the hospital, they tried to stabilize me, gave me as much blood as they could. Both my legs were broken, my pelvis was broken, 3rd-degree burns. So they actually tried to repair what they could. When I went into the hospital that night. So yeah, it was touch and go there for a while.
Were you in a coma?
I was in a coma for the first 3 days. And, because my mom had gotten the word that I might not make it.
Yes.
They just, on the off chance that I did not, they moved on to plan B. So it was them kind of, calling around my aunts, my uncles, and trying to figure out, okay, if she doesn't make it, we'll send her body back to Jamaica. We'll bury her beside her grandma. So it was them trying to deal with the outcome if it was a negative outcome, while still, praying and hoping for the Lord to kind of do what He does. Or
perhaps that was the part of her that just needed to be active, just needed to do something, because deep down, somewhere in there was this little mustard green of hope.
Mustard seed of hope.
Right?
Definitely.
That you were going to live.
Definitely. And, it was my husband now, we were just dating at the time, and he flew down. So he said, before I fully came out of the coma, I was talking to him. Of course, I don't remember any of that. But he said, I did say I was trying to hold on to the steering and I could not, but after those first 3 days when I came out of the coma, it was then moving on and dealing with everything else.
All right, I tell you what, let's take a break and we'll come right back.
Hi, this is Edine Davis. I'm a sergeant in the Army and I represent all Jamaican. And you're watching RHR TV. So stay tuned and keep watching and don't go nowhere.
Hi, my name is LaShawn and I represent America and I only watch RHR TV. Stay tuned.
Boy, Rasta, we are tell you twin of twins I represent the real hard roots. We are tell you Rasta. Yes, the foundation. The root of it is always the truth of it. And some people say education and don't know the use of it. Yeah, we are tell you get that something there. But you don't know real hard roots. Success coming like HIV. You have to live with it till you're dead. I tell you. Yeah, man, we make them know. Say, it's the real hard roots and the real hard truth. I say anybody when I like that. Saucy.
Goodness. So So, Miss Novia,
Yes.
before the accident or when it was about to happen, what were your thoughts? What caused it? What were you thinking?
I know just before it happened, one of the things that I thought, I'd been driving for 7.5 hours at that
Right.
time, and there was a rest stop coming up. So I remember thinking, I'm going to pull over at the next rest stop. And, that was the last memory that I have of the initial, event.
Okay. When you came out of coma, what were you thinking then? What passed through your mind? Were you able to think? Were you able to even realize or feel your body or see? What went through your head?
When I came out of a coma and I realized that, okay, I was in a hospital bed and wasn't able to move as I wanted to. But, my mom was there and Brian was there. So, it was them filling me in a little bit on what had happened. And my mom actually tried to append what she told me, just to make sure that she would give me what she thought I could handle at the time. So, it was getting past that and letting her know that, okay, I can handle it all. What exactly happened? Where are we? That kind of a thing. So, that was my initial thing coming out of the coma.
How long did it take you to walk? Or even begin to move your body?
Well, because of the nature of my injuries, because I had 2 broken legs, which they then had to put rods in, and some huge screws to stabilize. I had a broken pelvis. I had 3rd-degree burns on my butt, my hand. I was blind in one eye for 3 days. I had a burn on my forehead, that kind of a thing. So because of the nature of my injuries, I was basically kept immobile, because they were able to get in to fix my legs. But because of the burns on my butt, they could not get in to pin my pelvis. So because of that, they didn't want me moving so as to, get right, because they were trying to keep it as aligned as they could.
Question.
Yes.
You said you were blind for 3 days.
Yes.
How did it go away, or did
they actually had to slit the side of my eyes to allow it to drain.
So you were a miracle.
Yes. You know what? It was one of those things where the Lord has so much more in store for me to do. Because while I was at that hospital, there were so many people that came in with much less that weren't able to walk out or leave on their own. So it's just knowing that that
you're alive. And,
yes, I'm alive and I'm still here.
Okay. Did you feel any remorse, bitterness? Did you obviously had to make some changes, at least for a while, in your lifestyle?
I did. I mean, you do not realize how many things you take for granted.
True.
Until it's taken away. With regards to remorse, I did not feel any. While I was there in the hospital, of course, they had psychiatrists come across and talk to you, that kind of a thing. And, they realized that I had a strong family unit and I had a strong faith in God. So because of that, I actually ended up being their psychiatrist. They'd come and tell me their problems because they realized that, I was not so much affected by what was happening.
Isn't this remarkable? She's in this situation, this position, this medical condition. She's kept in a bed, not being able to move, all these burns and broken body parts. And yet her spirit was intact. And she became the psychiatrist of people. Isn't that something that's remarkable? That's something right there.
And I was there at the hospital there for 3 months. I could not at that time put any weight on my legs, none of that. After 3 months, I went back to another hospital in New York. And after about 3.5 months, I could finally put weight on my legs and learn to walk again.
Wow. Major milestone
Yes,
right there. I can imagine.
it was huge for me because at that time, because I wasn't walking and, you know, I had been immobile for so long, you know, when I got back to New York, you know, Brian had to feed me. My cousin Dawn had to feed me.
Yes.
And they were feeding me vegetables. I don't do vegetables. So it was,
food, right?
yes, you know, they do fish stuffed with, you know, callaloo, things like that. Awesome, but I don't like vegetables. So the first time I could actually go to therapy and they said, you know what, you're going to learn, we're going to start working with you to start having you walk again. I actually said to the lady, I said, I have to walk today.
Oh, and did you?
I did. I stayed there, graduated from, you know, just kind of pushing between bars to a walker to finally a cane, the 4-prong cane. Because
How did you deal with the pain?
it was just one of those things that was a stepping stone to where I wanted to be.
Right. Okay.
So instead of having the pain kind of hold me back, the pain pushed me forward. You know, the more that I worked through it, the quicker I get back to being mobile and, you know, being independent, which was a huge thing for me.
Yes.
So, yeah, the first day that I went into therapy, I walked. And then it got to the point where they would allow me to go home for one day. So Brian would pick me up in the morning, on a Saturday morning, and he'd have to bring me back by 6 o'clock. And I remember one of the Saturdays that I went home, I said to him, you know what, I want to drive. You know, I was always an independent person. I did not like having to put people out of their way to do things for me. So I wanted to get back to being mobile. And, you know, I remember he looked at me, he said, are you serious? And yeah, I want to drive. So he lifted me out of the wheelchair. He put me in the car. I drove over to one of my friend's house, blow the horn and wave. Couldn't get out.
You did?
Could not walk, couldn't get out. But, you know, my foot could go from gas to brake. So it wasn't a, you know, manual transmission. So I was good. You know, I drove over there and drove back. And that was...
An achievement,
yes,
accomplishment.
Yes,
right
it was an accomplishment. It was big for me because now I could go and get my own French fries if I needed it. You know, so.
So what she's thinking. Oh my
God. Yeah, so you know, that was something that happened, and you know, one of the things that I remember also when it was finally time for me to learn to walk, they said that I'd walk with a very severe limp. Because they were unable to get in to pin my pelvis. My pelvis had healed lopsidedly. So they said I'd walk with a very severe limp. And I remember looking at the young lady and I said, I already have one hand. I am not going to limp. And, you know, I practiced walking, looking in a mirror. That way I would actually get to see, you know, and kind of adjust for it. So I was able to walk without limping, and now I walk. I wear my 4-inch heels.
Yes,
you know
that looks like 7.
Yes.
Oh my goodness!
I mean,
right?
This is one of the smaller ones, but you know, I'm able to walk and just enjoy. I mean, the day might come when I won't be able to do it.
Right.
But right now, I'm able to live life and love life as the Lord intended for us to.
Do you still feel pain from
when
you put those heels on?
I thankfully I don't. There are moments. There are moments, especially earlier on. There are moments when, you know, if I was on my feet for too long,
yes,
you know, in the night I'd feel a little bit of pain. But those are few and far in between, and they're also, you know, a part of life. A part of life. You know, you can't allow the little things to not have you enjoy your life to the fullest. And that to me is just a little thing. Because it could have been worse. I could have been without legs or, you know, unable to walk.
Wow, an amazing story. We are going to a break and we'll come right back.
My name is Zainali Michelle. I attend the St. Catherine High School in Jamaica and I only watch RHR TV 1. You are watching RHRTV1. RHRTV to the world.
My name is Danielle Michelle. I attend the St. Catherine High School in Jamaica, and I only watch RHRTV1.
You are watching RHRTV1. RHRTV to the world. RHRTV1 to the world.
We are the Youngs and we are from Jamaica. You're watching RHRTV, the #1.
Never let them get you down. Never let them see you frown. Never let them lead you astray. Starting today, live your life your way. I say, I'm excited to strong when you're locked into RHRTV. Keep it locked every time I say that boom shot.
Instead of just leaning back.
Okay. All right, and we're back.
Yes, we are.
The amazing Miss Novia. So, having been through all of that, how long did it take your body to really heal?
Wow. You know, it took a while. I was in the hospital for a total of about 4.5 months that I had to be there.
Yes.
After that, it was doing outpatient therapy, you know, to get through it. But, you know, your body heals and then your life has to adjust. Because one of the things, now I'm without one hand, you know, so things such as tying your shoelaces, something as simple as putting on a pair of pants, you realize how much you took for granted when you had two hands. Now that you have one, you have to kind of adjust the way you do things.
Before you got to this state where you are comfortable,
yes,
did you feel the frustrations? You're trying to tie your lace, do personal things.
You know what? I did not. And the main reason is, as soon as I came out of the hospital, my mother started doing everything with one hand, just to show me I could.
Isn't that
so
remarkable?
she would, you know, she would peel yam with one hand to show me that, you know, I can do this.
It could be done.
Drive with one hand, everything with one hand.
Wow.
You know, if it's something as in tying a shoelace, instead of it frustrating me, it was actually, you know, I looked at it as not a frustration, but
not an obstacle, but a challenge to overcome. Yes.
Exactly. So it was trying to find, okay, how can I get this done? You know, so it was looking at every new thing that I had to do as a challenge instead of an obstacle. So it kind of made it fun to figure out, as weird as it is, fun to figure out ways to get it done. Exactly.
Your own jigsaw puzzle and crossroad puzzle, right? Is your mom still alive?
Yes, she is. She is. She's still alive. So
what's her name?
Jean Valerie.
Jean Valerie.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
you must have forged this bond.
Yes. Because
a closer bond.
When the accident happened, she drove up the night off, and she stayed in the hospital with me the entire time. She lived in the waiting room the entire time.
Yes, and imagine how many mothers or relatives, but mothers in particular, would have thought of using only one hand and keeping it up, continuing to use one hand just to help your child.
Yeah, she is.
That's remarkable. That's amazing. That's highly commendable.
Definitely amazing. And you know, it's when I had my daughter, it was going through that also, and knowing that, okay, I can do it. I have one hand, but I can do it. There are people doing it with no hands.
How many years after your accident, or how long after your accident, should I say, you actually had your daughter?
I had her 9 years.
9 years,
9 years after my accident, yes. So, you know, it was getting over the initial shock that I'm pregnant, you know, discussing it with my husband, and, you know, having him say, you know, it's okay, we can do this. You know, if you can't plait her hair, I can plait her hair. You know, and then knowing that together we can do this as a unit. Knowing that I have this partner, this person that is there willing to go, you know, toe to toe. You know, he's not going to breastfeed, but everything else, you know, he's there toe to toe with me. So, you know, it's knowing that he is there, and we can get it. We can get through it. So.
I tell you, this is a great woman. See her sense of humor. All right. Your daughter.
Yes.
When she started, let's put it. How do I say this now? When she understood, when she started understanding the human body,
right.
And what did she think?
She grew up knowing that mommy had one hand. Mm-hmm. So when she went to school, it was a non-issue. Mommy had one hand. Oh. So it was, telling her friends, yeah, my mommy has one hand. She was in a car accident. The car hurt her hand. So all of her friends thought this was just awesome. I went into her class. Everybody wanted to touch it. And I think the adults had more fear in broaching the subject than the kids did.
Than the kids.
So, the kids would come up and just ask anything, and their parents would be like, no, I'm like, no, it's fine, I'm good with it. Right. But, adults more so than the kids were the ones that were afraid,
yes,
to ask. And one of the things that I always say, if you see something you're unsure of, ask, rather than just looking and not getting to the root of it. Just ask. If a person doesn't want to talk about it, they'll say they don't want to talk about it. But, if you don't ask, you'll never know.
That's true too. But, question, during the pregnancy,
yes,
based on the injuries that you've had, did you have any complications?
I had absolutely no complications with my pregnancy. I loved being pregnant. I still love being pregnant. I would be pregnant in a hot second if I didn't have to deal with the after effects. The only thing that we worried about was, my doctor said because my pelvis fused by itself and wasn't healed properly, she wasn't sure if I could have her naturally, or if it would cause my pelvis to separate again. So that was the only concern that my doctor had. Otherwise, I had a uneventful pregnancy.
See, in spite of it all, whoo, wonderful. The great Mrs. Novia Bent. All right, your arm, losing your arm.
Yes.
What caused it? From the burns?
Yes, it was. When the car, came on top of me, the undercarriage of the car was so hot that it burned right through. So my arm was burned so badly that the doctors said, listen, we can leave it, but it would just be there hanging. Or we can amputate it. And then, with the increases in technology and in science, you can have a great prosthesis soon. And, I discussed it with my mom. I discussed it with Brian. And, we decided the best thing was to amputate it, because there is so much more that can happen than just having it there hanging limb useless.
Did you have a moment when you said no, or you went through it? A war within yourself as to what you wanted to do?
No. And it's because I within my life, I never look at any one thing and kind of look at what to regret from it happening. It's something that happened, so it's moving forward and looking at the positive from it. Now the accident.
So while she's in construction, buildings, houses.
Yes. The accident was something that happened, so it's moving from that platform and saying, okay, where are we going to go from here? Either I'm going to live my life regretting and feeling sad about everything and not moving forward, not being able to achieve what is there for me to achieve, because obviously there's still much more that is there for me to do, which is why I'm still alive. Or, just, so instead of doing that, instead of doing the whole sad depression, regretting, it's moving forward and seeing what I can do and how I can do it from the platform that I now stand.
Wow, this is mind-boggling. I hope we are all taking note, paying attention. Novia has been through a lot, a great deal, and the way she dealt with it, and some of us have less problems, little more, little just little stresses, and we take it to, we make a whole mountain out of a little molehill, which is what some of us can do. I'm not knocking any of us, but what can we learn from all of this? She went almost to death, and she came back with such positive attitude to life. And you see where she is? In construction. And she uses the hammer, she uses the tool. She actually go on the site and she does work. It's overwhelming. You are something else.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, you should be teaching school. There's something more. There's something more, not something else. All right. Oh my goodness. Wow. Mrs. Novia Bent. And your husband seems to be so supportive of you. You're a unit. You're an example to husbands and wives.
He is. He's really, not only my husband, but he's a friend. I know we all say that about our spouses. His name is Brian.
Brian.
We all say that about our spouses, but I can, really say that he is, I think he's the one that was put here for me, and I was just blessed enough to have found him. Yes. We're from the same area in Jamaica. I've known
really?
him. Yes.
So you know him from Jamaica?
Literally known him since I was like 2. He used to go to my grandfather's church, and it was one of those things that
Childhood sweetheart.
No, I didn't like him. He was not neat and stammer. No.
Oh my goodness.
He still is, but
he still is, but now you love him now.
At about 9 or 10, I started thinking of him more as instead of us.
Right.
It was that change in expression when you finally see.
Oh, when the scales fall from the eyes, right?
Yeah, it was one of those moments,
Oh my, I know you wouldn't trade him for anyone in the whole wide world, right?
He's my little hottie now, so, I am thankfully blessed enough to go through life with him.
And you said something very important. You said he's your friend.
Yes.
See, it's important not only to be lovers or husbands and wives or whatever union it is, but to be friends as well, because that's what's going to help you.
That's what's going to help you through every day. Because there's sometimes even when you love somebody, you're not in love with them.
Right.
And I've told a lot of
you don't like them for that moment.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I might love you, but I might not like you right now. So I've told a lot of my friends that you need to build and cherish that friendship, because in spite of it all, to use your line, in spite of it all, you'll still have each other going through this journey called life. So it's good going through it with a friend.
It's good going through it with a friend. See, you have to have a friend. You have to have someone holding your hand.
Yes.
Going through it with you.
Oh yeah, reminds me of that old Jamaican song, "What a Friend We Have in Jesus."
Amen. Now, in being friends, how did that really impact? How did that really impact on your life, your family? How did they view him? Especially when he was such a stalwart in your life. But tell me that after the break.
Okay.
I'm crying for the people. Red Rat is crying for the people. Can someone give me a reason why this world is full of so much evil? Boom, well this is Red Rat, keep it locked. Read hard roots. And boom.
Yeah, me's a man of justice, and anything me say I do, it must be realistic. Stay tuned. Yeah.
This is Pablo Hoylet, and you're watching RHR TV1, Real Hard Roots. This is Pablo Hoylet, and you're watching RHR TV1, Real Hard Roots.
Yes! Miss Wonderful. Friendship. Your family.
Yes.
Your husband fitting in. You fitting into his family. Everything.
Yes. With my family, with my mom, it's like he's the son and I'm the daughter-in-law. She loves him. They love each other, and with us, coming from so far together as a family, I know all of his family members, so it's was like a seamless union. So I'm integrated fully.
Seamless union.
Yeah, I'm integrated fully within his family and he and mine. So, it's one of those things where wherever we are, we're home.
Wonderful. Great. Perfect example. I tell you, you should be teaching school.
Yeah.
You should be teaching school. Now, when you wanted to get into construction, did your husband have any reservation at all? Even a little teeny weeny bitter one, so?
No, you know what it was? As I said, I had a midlife crisis, and I was in the financial field. I was a financial
At
analyst.
what age again?
27.
27.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Had a midlife crisis and decided that my next birthday would not catch me working where I was. So I actually stopped officially working there the day before my 28th birthday. Stayed on for an additional month training the managers and stuff, but it was on my schedule because technically I wasn't working there. And what happened is we had a plot of land, and we decided, we want to build our own home, and why not cut out the middleman and become the middleman? So we decided to become our own general contractors.
That's the financial analyst they're thinking,
yes. So we decided to, do the exam, become our own general contractors, and then the jobs just started pouring in. So at the time,
blessings.
Absolutely. At the time, Brian was still working with, a larger firm as a head project manager. Right. So I kind of took the bull by the horns, so to speak. Yes, and started running.
This woman here.
Started running the company, and it was so interesting to me because with the financial field, I had reached kind of the pinnacle,
right,
of where things were, where I was doing things that my managers and everybody else was doing.
Okay.
They were coming to me for questions. People were thinking that I was ahead. I kind of reached there, and I did not feel that there was any more growth where I was.
Satisfaction.
Right. And with the construction field, it was something that I was always on the peripherals of. And now I was actually getting in there. So it was, it was learning every facet of it. And, having this new challenge. This is something that, okay, if somebody's going to tell me I need 5/8 drywall for this wall, understanding why 5/8 drywall was needed and we couldn't use 1/2 inch. So it was kind of the challenge of learning a new field and,
yes,
being your best at it. So that's how I got into the financial field. It was, as I said, it was really started to build our house.
Your own house.
Yes, which we eventually did finalize, but the company took on a life of its own and continued living.
Wonderful.
And has been doing well since the doors opened.
God be praised. In spite of it all.
In spite of it all.
Here we have.
Oh, yes.
All right. It's obvious that you are deeply spiritual.
Yes.
Were you always like that? Or did this happen as a result of your experiences?
Well, I think the older you get, the more you get into your spirituality. I grew up in the church. My grandfather had a church, my uncle. So I grew up in the church, singing at anniversaries, being a part of the church. But at that point, you're doing it because your grandparents tell you to do it. And not so much because you understand, the deep-seated need for your continued love and following of Christ. And, at that age, we're all saying, yes, we're Christians, all of that stuff, but I don't think we really understand what we're professing at that point. So it was not until later on, until, I got married, that I renewed my you know, my
vows, your covenant,
vows, my vows with my bridegroom.
Indeed. Now, during the experience,
yes,
of recovering, being so close to death,
yes,
being almost gone, and what did that do to your spirituality right at that time?
At that time, I think it strengthened my spirituality, because at that point you're realizing that, you know what, tomorrow is promised to no one, and you're here by grace and mercy, because God wanted you here, not because, you know, your mother loves you a lot, or you know, because you do good in your life, or because I'm a hottie. Right. No, you're literally here because, you know, the Lord wants me to be here. Right. And what I went through, that's true. And what I went through is something that happened, and it's something that I can use to help others grow in Christ, and something that I can also use to help others grow within themselves. Okay, great. So it was having that strength and having that faith in God to know that your steps are ordered, and He's going to take care of every little facet of your life.
Despite being so strong in faith, did you regret anything at all?
I can't.
Did you ask God, why me? Why
my arm? Why I have a butt?
Why all these pins in my body?
Honestly, had my husband not been there and stood by me, I possibly would have asked why.
We'll be right back.
Definitely.
Woo!
I Leroy Epton Sudan first, a reggae daddy, yes, in the place. And this is one of the original star. And you're watching RHR. Yeah, like number one. Yeah.
This is Kapachi. Yeah, I say for the new year, RHR TV, Real Roots TV. Yeah. Big up. Yes, this.
And we're back. Miss Novia, I'd like for us to stay and talk all night, but guess what?
The hour goes so quickly.
Right. I'm only giving you 2 more minutes now.
Definitely.
Until next time.
So yeah, just to wrap up, I mean, it's just knowing that whatever you go through in life, only you can determine, you know, how you'll react to it, how it will affect your life.
And the support of your family.
Exactly. At the end of the day, you have yourself to other than your faith. You really only have yourself to look to for your strength. You know, you have your family supporting you, you have your spouse supporting you, but you know, at the end of the day, you really need to look to yourself. So it's standing strong in your faith and knowing that through God you can do anything, and everything is out there for you to achieve. So it's pushing forward and deciding that, okay, I want to be a contractor, you can do it.
Wow. Tell us more. We want to hear more from you. There is so much for you. Anyways, Novia, it's just been wonderful hearing you, being in your presence. You exude confidence.
Thank you.
You know, this energy field for someone who has been through so much, you know, and you're here to tell the tale in spite of it all, in spite of all the things that you went through. You are here intact, wonderfully going down the road.
Exactly.
Miss Construction herself. At times like this, we take a moment and we review and we think of all our in spite of it all moments, and what is there to learn? What can we gain? What happened? Are we strengthened? Are we defeated? What do we do? Do we continue? What do we want to do? And we're thankful for Miss Novia's experiences. I know it has really encouraged some of us, and we wish her all the best.
Thank you.
Who knows, we might be coming to you to build our houses or to learn. A string of us women might be coming to you.
Definitely.
But all good things must come to an end. So this is the end. See you next week. In spite of it all. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Miss Novia, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Oh my God, girl. You are awesome.